Guys, the patrons have spoken. Saquon Barkley is on the block. Scott, we'll start with you. It is a 12-team Superflex PPR, 1.75 for the tight end, start 10. So you're a contender. You're giving Saquon and your 26 second, and you're getting the defending champs 25 and 26 first. Which side do you take, man?
Man, so I am able to get 2 firsts in a deal where I'm getting credit for a lot of what I'm giving is the running back and not the other piece. This is not even close for me. This is 2 firsts. I honestly, hot take, we'll talk about it a little bit more as we go forward. I don't think Saquon's even worth a first. I don't think he's good enough to say, I mean, if you pay a first, I get it. But if you can get a first for him, just knowing the running back market right now and how easy it should be to navigate just to get some points, yeah, I'm taking the 2 firsts here pretty easily.
So Shane, what about you, man? Are you giving Saquon and your 26 second, or are you getting the 2 firsts from the defending champ? Go ahead.
So I could go ahead and just trade Saquon, get 2 firsts, right? And then use one of those firsts for another running back if I really had a hard on for running backs. If I was really like, whatever, I'm going to be stupid and pay up for running backs. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I'm stupid. You got to take the picks. They're like, there's no choice. Like, how do you not take the picks? Think of all the running backs you could get with a first. You could turn around and go buy Rachaad White for a first. Any other running back ranked in the 9 to 16 range, and they'll give you just the same, about the same production that you'll get from Saquon. Or you could use it for a bunch of other stuff that's not a running back.
So, Scott, you're not worried at all about giving Saquon to a contender, it doesn't seem like, because you're a contender as well, and you're getting the defending champs 2 firsts. So you're not scared.
I'm not. I think it's the power of the 2 firsts itself and the option that can I go buy another running back or just bank those until I actually need running back production. So like Shane was saying, I'm not exactly excited to have those 2 firsts in terms of where they're going to fall in the rookie draft, but I'm just willing to bet on the process that I can use them to find replacement production. If a 27, 28-year-old running back that is going to be going into, what is Saquon, his 7th year, beats me, I'll live with it. So, there's a lot of other options in similar spots. I'll just live with that.
So let's go to a shallow one here. We got a 10-team Superflex, half PPR, no tight end premium, start 9. Shane, are you going Saquon or Chris Olave?
This feels personal. This feels like a personal attack.
It's very, very much so.
I'm going Chris Olave. Spencer Rattler looking really good in camp, according to Twitter. And everything I see on Twitter is definitely going to come to fruition. You probably could convince yourself as to why you want to go Saquon. I think then when we do that, and I'm guilty of this sometimes, I'm thinking too much of, well, it's a start 9, so I need to get a hammer running
half
back.
PPR start 9.
Right. And I'm thinking, oh, I need a hammer running back. Well, Saquon really that anyway? No. I don't think he actually is. So I'm going to go Olave. I know Scott's going to disagree with me because he hates Chris Olave, like with a personal, like with a fiery passion. He has a hatred in his soul for Olave. He texts me sometimes for no reason
as well.
And he goes, Olave sucks. Deal with it. And I'm like, wow, that's uncalled for. So all that to say, I'm going to go with Olave.
Scott was shaking his head. He's going Olave as well. Go ahead.
I'm going Olave. I mean, just a little data on Saquon. So last year, this is 2023. You can argue all the Giants were bad, whatever you want to paint the situation that he was in. Of running backs that had at least 50 opportunities, so we're not talking a ton of opportunity, he was 56th in point per opportunity. Only a 19% target share. That's what concerns me a little bit about Saquon is we used to think this was a premier elite receiver. That's probably not happening in Philly either. That percentage is probably going to go down a little bit. So when you compare him to some of these other running backs that we don't think of as elite receiving running backs, then you pile on to the fact that his efficiency is probably dropped from a pure like running back standpoint. He's really just going to have to ride a great Philly team if he wants to pay off what his price is. So if I can get out of him for a asset, even if Olave doesn't matter much in a 10x9, having Olave the asset, I think is going to give me a lot more flexibility. So it's pretty easily Olave here.
So Shane, we are not fans of running backs, and apparently we haven't taken Saquon on any of these trades. Where is he a fit, though? Or if you have him and you're trying to, quote unquote, sell him, how are you going about doing so?
Well, I mean, you don't have to try very hard. The hatred that we have for running backs is only shared in our community because every league I play with people that aren't us or are people, they still like running backs. And they tell me that Saquon Barkley is a very good running back and he can be elite because they ignore, well, the data Scott just put out there and I guess Saquon's career because he had one elite season and one good season. So it's really not that hard to sell him. I'm willing to also just take a first for him. So that's not expensive, particularly so to a lot of teams, so a lot of managers. So probably pretty easy to sell Saquon, to be quite frank. Now, my problem is I'm trying to use him to get an elite asset.
To tier up.
Right. And people are like, well, I'm not going to do that. So you can't use him generally to get an elite asset. He's not that.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that I'm going to have zero Saquon. In fact, I think I have like 12% Saquon or something like that. I just think if you have somebody in this tier, somebody that's older, somebody that has some warts, somebody that's already had an injury history, the value is the value. There is probably he is going to be seen as a tier above all of the other guys that are in the similar tier right now. But it's also roster dependent. There are teams where I look and I go, Saquon's my RB1. Sure. Maybe that team, those are the ones I'm willing to bet on him. Now, if I have another running back, I was looking at a team earlier that had Joe Mixon, Najee Harris, and Saquon. I don't need all three.
Sure.
So it's not that I believe in him more than the other two, but if I put all three of those on the block, which one may deliver me a first? And it's not Najee Harris or Joe Mixon. So immediately my mind goes, all right, I'm going to keep those guys and try to move the Saquon even for the late first to another contender, because I probably don't want to be holding the bag on all three of those types on one team. So I think it's very much, if you can't move Saquon for a first and you've tried to shop him and you can't tier up from him, and the answer from your league is you're stuck with him, then align your bets around you're planning on that being a team you're going to rely on him. I think of it that way. That's how I look at running backs in this range. If they're not elite, and the beauty of it, it's 95% of the running back landscape. So it's all about how do they fit on my team.